My first companion was a great blessing, and also he was crazy. And he would like that I say that. No, but I love him. So in my first area, it was more of a ghetto-ish area in Skyway. And one crazy experience that I can remember is like 8:55, and he was so diligent. He's like, "We've got 5 minutes. We got to go out and find someone." And so he parked the car, and he runs to like an alleyway, and it's like pitch black. And there's a man standing against the wall, had his headphones in, listening to music, and with his head down. And I was more hesitant to talk to him, but Elder Yamashita goes up, taps on his shoulder, is more of like it's kind of a slap on his shoulder, and he whips his head around, and he wasn't happy at all. I won't repeat some of the things that he said, but he asked Elder Yamashita, "Do you have permission to touch me?" And he asked him like 3 times. And Elder Yamashita had just been learning English for maybe a year, so he didn't know what he was saying. And so I said to the man, "No, he doesn't have permission to touch you." And then he said, "I didn't ask you." And then he goes back to Elder Yamashita and asks, "Do you have permission to touch me?" And so somehow we get out of it. But by the end of him asking if Elder Yamashita had permission to touch him, I don't know if he did, but he was about to reach into either his pants or the inside of his coat for something. So we got out of there. We ran faster than we ever or were running before. And Elder Yamashita was more comfortable in those situations because of his background and where he's from, where he came from. But me, we got in the car, and I was like, "Do you know what just happened? Like, did you understand what he was saying?" Just asking him questions. He's like, "Oh yeah, we better go home." And that was probably the first crazy experience that I had. A temporal or life skill that I gained from the mission was the ability to communicate with people and listen. I feel like that's a very important skill to have, especially what I want to do as far as career-wise, working with people in the business area, listening and talking with people effectively was a great blessing. The ability to greater understand other people's culture and where they come from and have joy in it, and not have kind of a weird perception of it, but just like take it in and love it, was really neat. I gained a love for Asians through that. I married an Asian. Another life skill that I gained was, or that I appreciate from my mission, was having a better and good attitude in all situations. Just a positive attitude. My second mission president really focused on having high expectations in all situations, and that has been a great blessing after my mission. The most challenging experience on my mission came in my second area when I was called early on to be a trainer. Not necessarily because of the missionary, but because I was so new to the mission. I had just gotten done with my training, and the next transfer is called to be a trainer and district leader. And I don't say that to boast of my responsibilities. I say it to explain that it was a challenge, that it was a real growth area, that I'm very grateful for. And my companion was great. He was a new missionary, and he had his own things that he was working through, and I was just trying to figure out how to be a missionary while helping him figure out how to be a missionary. It was in the wintertime, it was raining every single day, so a lot of things that could seem like a disadvantage. And how I was able to make it through it was that first transfer of training him was when I finished the Book of Mormon for the first time, reading it on my mission, and it was huge. It was early on in the transfer, and it just provided me with so much strength and provided me with guidance, the Book of Mormon and prayers, to know that it's true each day, I was really focused on that, is praying to know it was true every single day that I finished reading. And it was amazing. I was blessed also with zone leaders who were very helpful when we'd go on exchanges when I was a district leader. So that was the first most challenging experience on my mission. And looking back now, it prepared me for my next kind of area that I was supposed to, or next goal I wanted to get to. And I also had another challenging experience later on in my mission, about a year in a different area, that prepared me for something else in the future. So I know that through each challenge, it prepares us for a greater blessing that's ahead. One of the strongest spiritual experiences on my mission was probably my last day, when I left the mission, and my last week. I was with 2 other companions, and everything that I had learned on my mission had been being acted upon that last week. Everything was going well, and we were seeing success. And coming down to the last day of my mission, my flight was postponed, so I got to spend extra time with my mission president and his wife in the airport. And that was a really special experience. And then when they dropped me off, or allowed me to go through the security line and off, I wasn't with other missionaries, I was just by myself. And that was one of the strongest spiritual experience of my life so far, was just having that confirmation that my mission was complete, and that it was whole, and that there was nothing missing, and that everything happened that was supposed to happen. Because my natural self felt like, could I have done better in this area? How could I have improved in this area? Was there something that I missed that I was supposed to learn? But after that experience, when they let me go, it wasn't anything they said. It was the Spirit that told me that it was complete, it was whole, and it was perfect for me. That was the most recent missionary spiritual experience on my mission, so it's the biggest in my head right now. Every major change or minor change that took place spiritually for me on my mission was only possible through Jesus Christ. And I can look back at all the specific experiences that I had, whether when I'm reading my journal, or they just come to me, or it's sparked by somebody that I see. It's only through Jesus Christ that those were possible. And through that, the biggest spiritual change that took place was my testimony of Jesus Christ that grew.